In every family, there's a secret battle, the kind no one talks about until it explodes. But what happens when betrayal doesn't come from an outsider, but someone who shares your blood? This is the story of how one woman framed her own sister to steal a legacy, and how the daughter she underestimated took it all back. Not with lawyers, not with fists, but with strategy, silence, and revenge done right. My name is Olivia Bennett, and I spent the first 18 years of my life believing my family was close. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every 4th of July. We were all there, my parents, my cousins, and especially my Aunt Margot. She was Mom's older sister. Loud, charismatic, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and pull every pair of eyes. I used to admire her. I didn't know I'd spend the next decade destroying everything she built. It started the year my grandfather died. He was the rock of our family, built his fortune from scratch. Started a timber business, turned it into real estate, then bought a sprawling colonial home outside Portland that he always said would stay in the bloodline forever. He left a handwritten will. My mom told me this herself. Grandpa wanted the house and most of the land to go to my mom, who had taken care of him through his final illness. Margot got cash, stocks, other assets. Still generous. Just not the house. But then, 2 weeks after his funeral, we were all called to the attorney's office. The will they read aloud said something completely different. The house and all the land now belonged to Margot. My mother sat still, pale, numb. I'll never forget her voice after. This isn't the will I saw, Olivia. It's been changed. I was only 18. I didn't understand how wills worked. But I saw the look on my mother's face. Shock. Hurt. Betrayal. My dad wanted to challenge it. But Margot, smug and untouchable, lawyered up immediately. Dad wanted me to have it, she said. He told me that himself. He just never updated the paperwork until I helped him do it before the stroke. But we knew that wasn't true. My grandfather had already suffered a mild stroke months earlier. He could barely hold a pen after that, yet somehow Margot had a perfectly signed, legally airtight document giving her the entire estate. What followed were years of legal roadblocks. Margot used high-end attorneys and family guilt as weapons. She'd show up to family events and act like nothing happened, like my mother hadn't been erased from the will of the man who raised her. We stopped attending my mom. Withered, she drank more, cried more. By the time I graduated college, we'd moved to a smaller house. I started working 2 jobs. My father passed away from a heart attack. My mom's health followed soon after liver failure. She died when I was 25. And when I packed up her things, I found the original handwritten copy of Grandpa's real will tucked in the pages of a photo album. It wasn't notarized, it wasn't filed with a lawyer, but it was signed, dated, and it matched exactly what my mother always said the house was supposed to be hers. Margot had lied, and I knew what I had to do. I spent the next year building a case. I took a job as a receptionist at a regional estate firm in downtown Portland, the same type Margot had used. I learned everything: how wills were filed, how signatures were validated, how digital metadata could expose date modifications. Then I found a friend who worked in document forensics. I showed him both copies. The official will Margot had filed and my grandfather's handwritten one. He ran tests, compared ink patterns, paper age, signature tremors. His conclusion: this will Margot filed was most likely signed after your grandfather's first stroke. Possibly with assistance meaning she helped him move the pen, possibly against his will. But this wasn't enough for court. I needed more, so I got close to Margot again. I showed up at a family reunion for the first time in 6 years, told her I wanted to reconnect, said I wanted to interview her about Grandpa for a family archive project. She loved the idea. Arrogant people love to be remembered. I recorded every conversation she spoke about the stress of managing Grandpa's estate, how complicated it got near the end. Then one night, after too much wine, she said, honestly, Liv, it was better this way. Your mom couldn't handle it. She would have let the property rot. I just helped things move along. I smiled, but inside I was boiling. I compiled everything: the handwriting comparisons, the forensics report, the audio recordings, the inconsistencies in the will filing timeline, emails Margot had sent gloating to a family friend about finally having what she deserved. I put them into a digital file. Then I waited for her biggest moment. That fall, Margot was nominated for a historic preservation grant meant to help responsible generational landowners restore family properties. She was going to be honored at a charity gala. I sent the file to the review board anonymously. Subject line: your award recipient forged a will to steal her family estate. Here's the proof. 2 days before the gala, she was dropped from the program. Then a local paper picked up the story. Family dispute over historic Oregon estate sparks investigation. Margot denied everything, called it malicious lies, but the state opened a review of the inheritance and the IRS launched a quiet audit. She tried to reach me, called, emailed, I never answered. Months later, she sold the house quietly for far less than it's worth. She moved into a condo. She lost half her friends and her name, the one she'd built through fake philanthropy and family erasure, was tainted. I didn't get the house back, but I got something better: the truth and her peace of mind. Sometimes revenge isn't about taking what was stolen, it's about making sure the thief never sleeps soundly again.